With the current exponential rate of change in the world we are living in, particularly with technology and AI in particular, being able to keep up with the bell curve is more important than ever before. And I don't just mean this in terms of technology and AI, as I mentioned. I think if you look around at society, going against the status quo, it's very different to what we used to be, mainly because of the financial world we are living in. The norm for your parents was to get a good job, find a significant other, get married, have kids, settle down, get a mortgage, and this could be very obtainable for the average man or woman before the age of 30. However, for you, for myself, this is not realistic anymore. Most people are staying at home longer than ever before. A lot of people are renting and very much struggling to rent, struggling to get by. Times are a lot tougher than they used to be. Having kids younger is not really a thing anymore. A lot of people are either deciding to have kids a lot later in life or deciding to just not have kids at all. I believe personally it is very important to stay ahead of the curve. Most people are still behind in the way they live in life. They're still trying to obtain a life that, as I've mentioned, is not obtainable for you and me anymore. It's not realistic. And it's very much within human nature to want this, to become an ostrich and stick your head in the sand and be like, this is the way to live our life, this is what I got told, this is what my parents did, my grandparents did this. It's just not. You have to move with the times because, like I say, times are moving very fast, and if you do not keep up with the current rate of change in the world we're living in, you will very much get left behind. And I wanted to make this video because I believe there are some things that will never change, and you will be able to stay ahead of nearly everyone you know. A lot of people don't think like this. If you're watching this video, you are not like the average person. You can get ahead of everyone else, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that in this video. See, you look at something like the Titanic, a natural disaster that we all know about. The sinking of the Titanic is a great example I like to think of, where 1,500 people lost their lives. Everyone was going about their lives so casually and not even worrying about things. No one was panicking. The Titanic was sinking at this point, and people were still going about their day, still leisurely having dinner, strolling around, acting like everything was fine. The calm before the storm is a great example of how to use this. But we know the consequences of what happened to this, and I'm sure the consequences of this are probably not as dramatic. Sorry, they are a lot more dramatic than yours are in your personal life. However, birds of a feather to end up flocking together, and I very much like the ideology of observing exactly what everyone else is doing and doing the exact opposite. If you did this in the Titanic, you would have been fine. Your life would have been saved, and unfortunately for a lot of people, just kind of carried on with their lives and they ended up losing their life. And you will have such a better life if you just do exactly that. Just look around at what everyone else is doing with their life and really just do the exact opposite. And at the end of the day, if you want to live a top 1% life and live a life that's not the same, mundane, where people are genuinely not happy with their life, you're going to have to do something different, aren't you? If you do what everyone else does, the input is going to equal the same as the output, and that's exactly what is going to happen with your life. But how exactly can you do this? How do I stay ahead of the curve? How do you go about obtaining that lifestyle? How does some things never change despite the rate of change in the world we're living in? Well, let's look at the 3 F's, which I like to consider the most important things in your life, which are fitness, your finances, and your family. So in fitness, one of the biggest catalysts to a better life for myself has been building a healthy and strong body and mind that makes you indispensable. Whatever comes in your way in terms of a physical standpoint, a spiritual standpoint inside of you, or emotional, anything that comes your way. Do you notice how nearly anyone that works out, who's at the top of their fitness, rarely gets ill, whether that be minor kind of setbacks such as illnesses, such as colds, and picking up small illnesses that a lot of people tend to pick up on a day-to-day basis, or even getting like serious illnesses. It's quite rare if you actually observe that, and I think that is a lot down to just consistently building yourself up in terms of building that physically strong body. I think muscle is like just such a great thing to do in terms of preventing yourself from long-term illnesses and building that mind. Like, we know a lot about stoicism. It's been a very big topic over the last few years, where a lot of people tell you, be stoic. And I think that will, to a certain extent, that's going to help you so much when things do get tough. And we know in the world that we're living in, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, and there has been a lot of downs for a lot of people, especially growing up in the world we're living in, for a lot of young people. But being able to be like, okay, this has happened, I'm going to bounce back again, that's hard. And to kind of develop that, especially as a young man at a young age, it's just going to make it so much easier for the rest of your life. Whereas a lot of people don't develop that throughout their life. If you can develop that, like I say, when it comes to your mind, when it comes to your body especially, you develop these things, you are ahead of the curve. That's never gonna change, and you're always gonna have that, and it's gonna just make life so much better for you. You're gonna have such a better life, and when those times get tough, you know exactly how to respond to that. Financially, I think it's Charlie Munger that says, invest shrewdly, delay gratification as much as possible. Don't fall for what everyone else is doing and all the shiny materialistic possessions that are in your face. There's always going to be something new. It's always been the case going back hundreds of years, whatever it may be, whatever it is now, the fancy cars, the fancy watches, all these stuff that influencers are putting on your social media platforms that you're seeing all the time, the fancy holidays, a lot of stuff isn't real anyway. But you have to understand that none of this stuff is ever going to make you happy and fulfilled. And I can guarantee that the average person can become very, very, very wealthy over time if you just increase the amount of time you're prepared to wait. And you can also decrease this. It depends how you want to live your lifestyle. It depends what you want as a person. But I honestly believe the average person is very possible to become very wealthy. You consider someone who is maybe earning £1 million a year, but they're pretty much spending everything they have. Most people will look at that guy and think, well, he's earning £1 million. He's very rich and wealthy. He's got a lot of money, surely, right? But that's not true. There could be a guy who's earning £30,000 a year, but he puts away maybe 10,000 of this. Like, he's over time, especially with the effects of compound interest, which I'm a massive fan of, as you probably know on this channel, is going to become a lot more wealthy, and is probably a lot more wealthy than this person earning all this money. But their outgoings are so much. Their lifestyle is also not one that reflects a truly rich lifestyle, what I believe in anyway. And family, the final F. I don't mean just in terms of the family, your mum, your dad, your siblings, anything like that. Consider your friends. I think around 3 to 4 good friends in your life can change your life, and that's all you need. Keep those people close, keep those people with good energy, with the same values, the same visions as you, who want to go to the same places. And I've also truly am a massive advocate for keeping your family close, as long as they are people you want in your life. If they are not people who are showing you respect, who truly love you for who you are, then I don't think they should be in your life personally. And when it comes to finding an intimate mate, that has to be, again, someone who shares that vision, shares the same values as you, someone you can go on a journey with and build something special together. And until you come across that person, you should be staying single, working on yourself, working on becoming that person you are inside, that person you've always wanted to become, and finding out who you truly are. And then naturally that person will come into your life, and when that does happen, that will be a special moment for you. And finally, I'd say seek mentors and listen to them very carefully. That's something that I've done consistently over the last few years, listening to people who've maybe been in a similar situation to myself, but I've been able to fast track that somewhat because I've kind of skipped through phases. I've maybe been through those phases but gotten out of them. For example, going out partying, doing this stuff. Like, I've been through it on a short-term basis, and I know it's just not really right for me. Don't get me wrong. Yes, I do it occasionally. But I know a lot of these stuff that a lot of people have kind of done, have developed through their lifestyle for years and years. I've been like, okay, this is not going to work. It's not going to make me happy. It's not going to bring me the lifestyle that I want to obtain. I think that's one of the most important things you can definitely do. And I think you do this, and I can on hand on heart guarantee that you will live a very rich life. And I don't mean just rich in terms of financial gain. You'll live a very healthy, fulfilling life with great people in your life. And I could go on and talk about a lot of other stuff regarding these topics, but I think staying ahead of the curve is something that I've been thinking about a lot. particularly as we've seen how fast things are changing, people's worldviews have changed, and the way people live their lives especially is changing all the time. And I fully expect that to change again in the next 5, 10, 15 years. But doing these things, as I've mentioned, you will stay ahead regardless of changes to technology, AI, anything that comes your way. You do these things, you'll become a very strong-minded person. You become physically strong. You become financially strong. You will build good people, good relationships around you. And I think they are the most important things in your life. And you might think, I'm 23, should I listen to this guy? You don't have to listen to me. Maybe you know stuff that I don't know. I'm always open to ideas. I'm a student of life, so that's something I take pride in. But hopefully you see the vision that I have in myself, and that I've maybe learned some lessons that a lot of people haven't learned at 23 years old. I like to think that anyway. And I'm someone that takes great pride in staying ahead of the curve. And I hope that's something you can do, using this video as motivation and seeing me as a coach to yourself, as I've seen in many other people. And I want to return that favour. And if you'd want further guidance on this, I'll leave my personal one-to-one coaching link below, and we'll see if we can work together. And yeah, hope this video has helped you. I'll see you in the next one. Like and subscribe. Take care.